Everyone, thanks for joining us. This is Yield Talks on the Edge podcast. I'm DeFi Dad here with Nomadic. Aside from our usual longer form video interviews, we love to host live spaces with builders and investors to review new and interesting protocols and ideas in DeFi. This past week, not only did we experience an unfortunate exploit of $128 million in Balancer, one of the most trusted protocols since 2020, we also learned that a permissionless yield protocol called Stream Finance reported a $93 million loss, due in part to deposited assets being lent to an external fund manager. Adding to the debacle, a number of isolated lending and borrowing markets on platforms like Morpho, Euler, and Silo were also exposed to borrowers using Stream assets as collateral, meaning there's an even bigger loss to reconcile with borrowers defaulting on their USDC loans. We're not here to analyze Stream today, but it is a relevant topic as we speak more broadly about the shortcomings of human curators and the opportunity for AI to do more objective work as curators in the DeFi markets. So before we get started, I just want to quickly shout out our partners at the Edge podcast. They make it possible for us to create this content and share it all for free. Everything's ungated. If you go to the-edge.xyz, that's the best place to subscribe to the podcast and to the newsletter. Partners like TOROS Finance and REDSTONE. Grow wealth exponentially. With TOROS leverage tokens, when the market moves in your favor, your gains become parabolic. They're built to ride trends, auto-compounding profits. With TOROS, it's simple. Pick a vault, deposit, and your exposure is multiplied, maintained, and protected automatically against liquidations. TOROS reduces risk and keeps you in the market ready for the rebound. When markets dip, the vaults auto-adjust, softening losses and preserving your position. Just pick a token to multiply your returns. TOROS Finance, exponential gains with leverage tokens. To learn more, go to toros.finance. REDSTONE is building the Oracle backbone to unlock real-world finance on-chain and next-gen DeFi. With modular gas-efficient feeds across over 110 chains, trusted by 170 clients, supporting over 1,300 assets, from value-accruing stablecoins, liquid staking and restaking tokens, to treasuries, private credit, and commodity tokens, REDSTONE delivers accurate real-time data where it matters most. The biggest platforms and protocols in DeFi today choose REDSTONE oracles, such as Athena, Curators, BlackRock Biddle, Pendle, Spark, and Maple Finance. If you're building the future of finance on-chain, you need REDSTONE's leading modular blockchain oracle layer. To learn more, go to redstone.finance, and thanks to REDSTONE for supporting us here at the Edge podcast and Edge newsletter. Banks use your money to line the pockets of shareholders. Meanwhile, Solstice uses the same yield strategies to line your pockets. Introducing Yield Vault, Solana's best yield. A live delta neutral strategy with positive returns month over month for 3 years. Built for internet capital markets and powered by the stablecoin USX. To learn more, go to solstice.finance. NEUTRL is the next generation of crypto-native yield. Their synthetic dollar NUSD taps into OTC arbitrage, funding rate inefficiencies, and delta-neutral strategies to deliver premium, stable returns without taking market direction risk. NEUTRL is currently live in private beta and will be opening for public deposits soon. Learn more at neutral.fi. RightSide. Would you like to just introduce yourself and remind folks of all the cool work you've been doing, and then love to hear what Vivaldi has been working on with Symphony?
Yep, for sure. Thanks for having me, Jim. Guys, everyone tuning in. I'm RightSide. I'm the part of the growth team of Pendle handling external relations. We have 2 products in Pendle at the moment, Pendle V2, which you see in or usually see as a platform where you enable yield tokenization and trading to have a view on future yield on points. And we recently launched the other product called Boros. It's an interest rate trading product used for margin, allowing users to trade funding rates from different exchanges. So quite busy, but can't complain. A lot of things happening in DeFi. quite sad as well with all of the implosions and all of what happened with like the deep pegs and whatnot. But we're still here to build, and hopefully everybody's okay with the market.
And then Vivaldi, can you share more about what you're building at Symphony?
Yeah, definitely. Hey guys, appreciate you guys having me on here as well. Symphony is basically building like the AI execution layer for financial markets. So we basically have this thesis that as models keep getting smarter and smarter over time, which they have been pretty rapidly, and finance keeps converging with DeFi, we basically see Symphony as that interconnection layer between these two trends, which allows AI to actually start being like real operators on financial markets, not just insights like how they usually have been so far. So basically we're focused on a few different distribution kind of funnels for the execution layer. One thing was, with virtual, so the ACP last week we launched. We have our own consumer app also launching later this month, which will have some Pendle strategies there as well. And we basically enable agent builders to essentially create strategies very, very effectively and handle the whole execution side for them. Because, especially as models get smarter, but even right now, you can create strategies pretty effectively on, at least like swaps, perps, and yield markets. But the hard part is like, you have to go integrate all these different protocols and figure out, how to do agentic execution, which is non-custodial. And then you just start figuring out, AI usually breaks when it comes down to doing actually the low-level call data inside blockchain systems because there's so many different parts where it can break out with gas estimation and things like that. So we just abstract that all the way for agent builders, make it super, super simple for them.
Yeah, so there's a lot in there that we want to dive into deeper, but I think I want to start even a bit more broad and kick this back to RightSide. I'm just curious how Pendle views the role of AI overall in DeFi. Is this a frontier that you're excited for or building towards and you think is meaningful to pursue right now?
Yeah, I do think AI overall for DeFi is very meaningful in how it optimizes and gives a better UI experience for users that are coming in to learn about DeFi, not only for newcomers, but also for DeFi natives. We've seen AI grow in the space for the past years on optimization of information through prompting, allowing users to easily get the information they need. There's also upcoming builders that we've seen for this year that is having a better user UX in terms of routing strategies across DeFi protocols. So before like the past years, right? If you want to do maybe a looping strategy or a yield leverage strategy, you go across maybe more than 5 or 10 protocols, see what makes sense, what are the risks involved. But with AI, it gives you faster information to where based on your risk appetite, what would be the best route for you to go to and what assets would be keen for you to use for these types of strategies. I think the other thing that I'm excited with is also the abstracting of like digging new opportunities. Like there's so many builders, there's so many protocols, but with AI, it makes things easy.
RightSide, I check Pendle daily. I truthfully don't know the difference between permissioned and permissionless pools that have been listed. Can you talk to us about the legwork that goes into which pools do get listed, what shows up on the front end? I think this sets us up for understanding like the need for AI as a curator.
Yep, sure. Pendle has always been going to the route of pushing itself to be permissionless. But there's definitely still mechanics going on with yield trading and tokenization that we can't have it as permissionless. So we decided to go with 2 routes. One is Pendle permission and the other is Pendle permissionless or Pendle community listing. In Pendle permission, these are pools that are started by the Pendle team with the interest of like our user base or interest of like just market general as a whole. So from start to finish, it's more of the team handling the due diligence, the research, and the auditing of this certain pool, and could be seen once you click the pool. There's the market information. You can see it's listed and audited by Pendle. So those with that tag is started with the Pendle team. Community listing and Pendle permissionless is a venue for any builder to come in to tokenize and trade their yield-bearing asset in Pendle. So we have a form. They fill it up. We do initial due diligence and research as well, but other concepts or mechanics that are included in listing the pool is set up by them. So auditing, the other contracts involved. The reason why we're doing this is there are a lot of opportunities out there in DeFi, and our team doesn't have that huge bandwidth to cover for all of these opportunities. So we give a route for us to have our own listing, while we also have an additional for the community to come in. Would still say that we have our due diligence for both, but we allow anyone through the community listing.
Okay, I want to ask you a bit more about this partnership between Pendle and Symphony. So I want to start with RightSide, but I want Vivaldi to kind of explain the Symphony kind of execution components afterwards. So maybe RightSide, tell us how this Symphony integration is working, and how AI is actually optimizing and doing curation here.
Yeah, there are things still being built with Symphony and Pendle together, but Symphony has a different direction towards optimization of DeFi with AI. So maybe I'll just give a quick background on what are things happening in Pendle, right? So Pendle's always been open with AI builders coming in to optimize like Pendle pools, Pendle opportunities out there. And it also gives us a way to scale and have a different feel from our current app. To be honest, since Pendle V2 launched 2022, we have over 500 pools that had been launched. If you see the market tab or the pools tab in Pendle, there's just so many pools that you can have different strategies with, whether PT, YT, or LP. It kind of becomes a bit overwhelming with all of this, right? But I would say AI could optimize this by giving a tailor-fit strategy based on your risk. If you're into just getting stablecoin yields, or you're going to get high-risk yields from these new stablecoins that are coming in, AI, I would say, would be able to help you optimize on those types of strategies. Another is Pendle has maturities. So pools mature over a set period of time to either get the fixed rate or get that amount of yield that you were purchasing over time. And it could be not really a concern, but it could be a roadblock towards moving to a new opportunity. AI can take over of that by easily rolling over your assets towards the next opportunity that is based on your preference. There's also other things like unwinding your assets from different looping strategies, since Pendle works with different market makers and money markets, and also to give better opportunities for PT and YT to get more yields. So having AI as a formation in your strategy can help you out in moving from one phase to another. So with Symphony, we're definitely interested to see more. I've been reading Symphony quite a number of times in terms of abstracting content that's available in the space and easily forming it into your own strategy with just one click of a button. So definitely interested to see how this works with Pendle, and looking forward to that.
Yeah, I still think we're quite early days here, but I definitely think everybody's going to be using AI and DeFi in some form going forward at some point. And I'll just quickly kind of analogize something here. I think we kind of have this like knee-jerk reaction, like, oh no, like I wouldn't let AI touch my finances. But something that we brought up on another podcast a while back is like, look, we're basically letting AI drive our cars now, essentially. So we're okay with stuffing our families in self-driving cars. I'm pretty sure it's not a massive leap to see us letting AI control our finances pretty soon, if not already. So it's inevitable. It's just the form factor, how it looks and how it works is kind of the missing pieces. So Vivaldi, I want to kick this over to you and just, RightSide talked about optimizing Pendle maturities, which is something that can be tedious to do manually. You got to pay attention. You got to do rollovers. So yeah, it definitely seems like there's a lot of room there to automate a lot of this stuff. But speak more to this agentic execution layer that Symphony is working on.
Yeah, definitely. And also to go a little bit deeper into the thing you were talking about with AI driving cars and things like that. Yeah, something which is actually a big thesis of Symphony as well, where we've noticed over, when ChatGPT first came out, right, it was very much so like, hey, what's the best restaurant in New York, the best Italian restaurant in New York or something like that. And over time now, the way people interact with LLMs has like completely changed. They started to trust AI a lot more than they used to previously. But people are talking about their deepest secrets with like their LLM. Or even, I'm sure you guys have seen some of these viral tweets of people starting to marry LLMs. So obviously that's the minority, but kind of shows like a wider trend of just trust in AI has started to rapidly increase, which now they're pretty comfortable with also it handling finances as well. So yeah, I completely agree there. But yeah, basically, so some more details on Symphony's execution layer and kind of what this unlocks, right? So when it comes to agents, obviously there is some risk with agents doing transactions for you behind the scenes, right? One big thing is that you can't just give agents custody or just even a third-party custody of your entire funds in like a safe way. That kind of breaks every security concern. So one big thing we unlock is that basically these agents are able to do transactions for you non-custodially. So lots of different tech things go into that account, including like account abstraction wallets and, you know, some intent-based systems and things like that. But basically, like, you can essentially have, like, you can subscribe to, like, 10 different agents, say, and they'll have scope command over what they can do on behalf of your wallet. Like, hey, you can only do, let's say, like, 10x long trades on Hyperliquid with $100 of collateral. Something very, very niche to that level. And I can have several different agents doing transactions on behalf of your wallets without them having any true custody of your account. So that's, like, one huge unlock. The other part is that, and for example, when we finish integrating Pendle in a few weeks, this whole basically gets activated for Pendle as well. Second part is that basically we unify all these different chains and protocols into one layer. When AI starts interacting with the underlying complexities of handling different states between chains, handling all these very narrow protocol integration type infrastructure, they just start breaking, right? It also amplifies hallucination risk aggressively. So what we did is like, okay, AI is amazing at insights and analysis. Let's make them just stick to that side, and let's handle the whole execution side of it, right? I think this is also why we haven't seen AI really handling finances at scale. You know, it's been a lot of conversations around it, and people are talking about it for like over a year, but it doesn't really happen at scale, right? And that's because the whole execution side, it's just way, way too difficult for AI to actually just do by itself. So, and you know, even in the future, as AI models get smarter and smarter, it will still never be fast enough, and hallucination risk just gets amplified without a true execution layer behind the scenes for it. So that's essentially what we kind of unlock, is actually letting agents, you know, navigate between several different chains, several different protocols, all at the exact same time, and consumers able to like have these agents do transactions on behalf of them in a secure way.
This episode is brought to you by MANTLE, pioneering a revolutionary new category called blockchain for banking by bridging TradFi and Web3 into one unified stack. With on-chain transactions, TradFi rail compatibility, and integrated DeFi features, MANTLE is reshaping how financial services work. Their flagship app UR lets users hold fiat and crypto all in one Swiss-backed account, making real-world finance usable on-chain. To learn more, go to ur.app and follow Mantle_official on Twitter. As a DeFi investor, I turn to Maple for permissionless institutional quality yield in a single liquid asset backed by over-collateralized loans. Maple's SYRUPUSDC and SYRUPUSDT are now supported as collateral for enhanced yields on major DeFi liquidity hubs such as Pendle, Fluid, Camino, Jupiter, Morpho, and soon Aave. To learn more about Maple, go to maple.finance.
KATANA is an opinionated blockchain. Its opinion is that for DeFi adoption, there are two key things we need: deep liquidity and high yields.
To learn more, go to katana.network. There's two different angles I want to cover. So one side is more related to the title of this conversation around curation. So it has more to do with agents acting in like a curator role, helping to create better markets on a platform like Pendle. But then I'm also very interested as a user of Pendle, how I'm going to benefit from Symphony. So I'm not sure if either of you want to kick off with either side of that, but yeah, as a user of Pendle, as someone who buys PTs every few months, and then I track the maturity date, and I wait until I've earned all of my fixed yield, and then I think about rolling all of that liquidity over to another PT. I'm just curious, what does that user journey look like once this partnership is fully integrated, once Symphony is fully integrated with Pendle?
Yeah, I can give like a quick high-level overview on that. So basically obviously, look, a lot of it's like manual, like you were saying right now, right? Especially with Pendle, I think even for crypto natives, it's a pretty complex tool to understand. And any way agents can abstract this whole, manual work you're talking about, and also just the UX of Pendle, makes it like basically opens it up to a much broader audience. So like I know also people in the Web2 space are just people who aren't deep into DeFi and crypto. They usually see Pendle and it's just too complex for them, and they kind of give up at some level. But if you have like these agents, which you just gotta go into, let's say, in a few weeks when we launch our consumer app around this, you can basically just see like these different Pendle agents based off yield and risk tolerances and things like that, which you're comfortable with. And you just click into want to subscribe to it. And by subscription, we mean like basically allow it to do transactions on behalf of your wallet and like the certain scope command the agent wants to do for. And then you basically just have all that stuff you're doing manually just locked in for you and just happening for you behind the scenes. And at the same time, these agent builders can now create more dynamic strategies, right? Like some looping type things. They can also do some stuff with, let's say at some level they want to do delta neutral strategies between perpetual protocols, and also add in Pendle at some level to hedge some levels of risk or do some yield strategies with that. They can start doing all these different things simultaneously at the same time. So it almost makes DeFi composable again, to a very high degree, which right now everything's kind of fragmented and scattered. So the user journey would be, they go onto this like consumer app, they can see different Pendle strategies based on their risk tolerance and what they're interested in. They can just jump into either one or jump into a few of them and just have them agents be doing all the stuff you're talking about manually just behind the scenes for you.
I get a question for you guys. Maybe, I don't know if this is RightSide or Vivaldi, but the last thing you were just saying there, Vivaldi, okay, you go in this consumer app and there's all these strategies. Who's building the consumer app here? I guess like who's productizing this ultimately? Because Symphony's the infrastructure layer and Pendle is, this yield marketplace. Is there like another third party that's going to come in and use this tech and use this infra to build this out? Is that something Pendle wants to do? Is that something Symphony wants to do? I guess RightSide or Vivaldi.
Yeah, I can speak a bit to this. So, I mean, we're actually productizing it as well. So there's essentially different distribution funnels for how Symphony gets in the hands of, or this infrastructure spreads. So the first one is essentially once the integration with Pendle is done, it's actually a part of ACP now as well. So agents on ACP can start doing transactions on Pendle and things like that. Same with Explorer 2 type APIs. Pendle's basically on Explorer 2 as well. And also we also power a few agent businesses, and now those agent builders on those businesses can also create strategies on top of Pendle. But to the main consumer app we were talking about earlier, basically November 24th, I'm going to be able to announce this publicly actually, but what we're going to be launching is this thing we call Symphony Composer. So Symphony Composer is where these agent strategies with Pendle will basically be sitting. And at the same time, people can create agent strategies very, very simply. So it's kind of like a marketplace for agent strategies. And that's, where these different Pendle agents will sit. You can create and go build your own agent on Pendle as well really easily if you want to. And you get some revenue share if you get lots of TVL growing inside your own agent pool and strategy.
Yeah, I was just say that's quite interesting. A bit I'm also excited about that because I just want to share about my thoughts as well with AI as a creator and for external creators as well for DeFi, right? I would say there's a space between both for AI as a creator and an external creator, because an external creator have their own set of strategy, risk appetite and management that enables different types of users to just join in and enable that strategy on their portfolio. But on AI, you can also tailor fit based on what you are used to, on what you want to have. So there's two options. AI can enable, preference on what type of yield you want to take or like how much in fixed APY and PDs you want to have. But for creators, it provides easy access. Personally, I would, since I'm like more DeFi native, I would use AI, given like I want to earn a bit more and like create my own strategy to where maybe some users can. I think also this leads to having our Pendle listed and our Pendle community listing pools where AI can have that sort of preference to where if you want to have fixed yields or you want to have strategies on Pendle that's only listed and audited by Pendle, you're able to do this so with the AI creator.
One thing we've not discussed here is more on more about the risk management perspective. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Like, we're talking about all the ways that I think AI agents will help you to essentially make more money, make more money passively by, being able to access, let's say, better strategies in something like Pendle. But bring it back to the risk management side. That's been the theme of the past week. There's flaws in the way that different human beings do their job in this space. There's misaligned incentives and so forth. So either one of you, love to just talk a little bit more about how can we make DeFi safer and better for users with AI agents?
Yeah, I guess I can speak first because I'll just give a general sentiment and overview from our Pendle users as well before Vivaldi speaks in, because he has more expertise in risk management. So we've been talking to quite a number of funds, offices, and also power users in Pendle if they're keen to do anything with AI. They mentioned they're not really keen yet, given how AI coming into DeFi is pretty new and want to see it battle tested first before they deploy any capital. So that is one of the clamors or concerns that they have to deploy. Some things that we mentioned is maybe they can start off with prompting first and see if it makes sense, manually deploy it with a small worth of their portfolio. And if it works, then they can deploy on the AI agent. On my personal view, the AI agent in terms of risk isn't that heavy because most of the deployment will still flow into the smart contract of the underlying, right? But since there's a additional layer, which is AI, I think that is something that is one of the discussions that we have. So we talked to a few AI protocols that are also building on top of Pendle. They are more transparent in sharing the code base before deployment. It's something that would be keen for in-depth users who understand code, but yeah, maybe Vivaldi can add a bit more there.
Yeah, definitely. So there's two types of areas we've been looking into, one part or our entire system essentially. So the first one, which I was bringing up earlier, is that basically we scoped out exactly what the agent can do on behalf of your wallet. So first, there's no vault type structures inside our system, right? I think vault type structures bring huge honeypots for hackers. And that's something we want to figure out and crack really early on with Symphony, because as traffic keeps coming more into crypto, even very, very small contract, smart contract risk, kind of stops them from putting lots of capital towards different strategies or different things inside crypto. So we want to find a way which we can have these transactions just kind of running for your wallets, right? There's no honeypot. It's happening behind, let's say, 10, 100,000 different wallets, all on top of your own system without you actually having to put money into a vault. Another vault has $100 million in it. And hackers are basically, it's a honeypot for them to come and try figuring out how to hack this wallet. So that's one big thing we did from the beginning to take away lots of risk, is that these transactions are happening on behalf of your wallet. Obviously, we make a smart account wallet for that, but no one ever has custody of these funds except for you. So that was a big thing which we initially designed with Symphony, is to find a way to do that, and that's essentially how the system works today. The second part is that when it comes to agents thinking process, right? I think RightSide was talking about this for a bit, where it's open source in the code or something like that. One team we're working with is AI, and if you guys have looked into some of the stuff we've been launching, it's really cool. But basically, we can have the agent's thinking process and logic of what it's doing live for the person to see. This will be something we'll add to Symphony Composer later on as well. But you can have the agent's whole thinking process basically being shown of why is it doing certain trades, why is it doing this other type of system, and why is it doing different things essentially. And you can just look through those logs and see, okay, it's doing the right things as well. The other part is having more deterministic type systems, deterministic models. And that's something which we're working with AI on, where we can use their type of APIs and systems, or model creators and agent builders can. And these will be deterministic systems. So the agents hallucination risk really, really goes down aggressively. And with us having scoped levels of what the agent can do and guardrails, it's basically zero essentially. So that's kind of how we kind of handle the risk from our side.
By the way, I came into this chat thinking our title was kind of hyperbolic. replacing human curators with AI, like, okay, yeah, that's kind of clickbaity. And, I'm definitely somewhere more in the middle than, pendulum shifting all the way to the other side. And we're just going to hand over the keys to AI right away. But honestly, like listening to what you just said, I think you nailed a lot of massive points for risk and transparency, things that are definitely needed. So I'm probably even moving a little bit more away from my middle position towards, yeah, sure, AI will be replacing human curators at some point. But something I want to circle back to that you said earlier, Vivaldi, was you were talking about ACP, and I'm not as up to speed on all this stuff as you and RightSide for sure. So can you explain what that is? Is that your virtuals integration that you've done recently? And maybe just break that down for us a bit if that is indeed what it is.
Yeah, so basically, give a high-level overview of ACP. It's essentially like a way for agents to communicate with each other. And the way virtual sees it is that eventually there'll be millions of different agents all doing different things, from not just trading, but also to, like, let's say buying your groceries or whatever it is. And it's basically unifying them all into one type of chat feature at some level. So you can go on the Virtuals' website right now and be like, there's something called the butler, and be like, hey, should I, can I like 10x long Bitcoin, or should I do this trade? And then let's say AIXBT now responds to you saying, yeah, you should do this trade because of XYZ reason. Then, okay, let's do this trade. And then that goes to Symphony and routes for the execution, essentially. So basically, you guys probably seen lots of these different agents on Virtuals, which are very insight-based agents, right? So we kind of help handle the whole execution side for these agents now. When it comes to perps, and then soon we're going to be adding, obviously Pendle, adding in prediction markets, adding in, direct, like yield and things like that, and swaps into ACP as well. So this is live. I mean, I think we launched on Friday. We've already crossed about 5 million volume since that launch. The first few days were pretty exciting. But yeah, definitely give it a shot. You can also talk to the butler on Twitter. So you can be like, hey, at butler, can I 10x long Bitcoin? And then they'll just route through Symphony and create the trade. So yeah, it's been pretty exciting to see. And I think the future vision of ACP is really interesting. And the cool part is that even these agents behind the scenes can just use this agent protocol, which Virtuals created, just communicate between each other and do transactions. You don't have to use a butler agent. So maybe in the future, these agents will all be just running with each other behind the scenes on ACP, and you just say something broad, like, hey, like I want to, like some type of trade, or maybe you want to book an Uber or buy some groceries or something. And by this, these 10 different agents all start working together to make this happen for you. So yeah, pretty exciting future where they're headed to.
River is building a chain abstraction stablecoin system that connects assets, liquidity, and yield across multiple chains. Season 3 is live. Earn River points by using SAT-USD in DeFi such as Pendle, PancakeSwap, and Uniswap. Stake River points to accumulate more, or convert points to River tokens whenever you like. To learn more, go to river.inc. Hey folks, I want to tell you about our sponsor GEARBOX, the protocol that reimagines on-chain lending. With GEARBOX, you can access 10x credit across DeFi or lend for passive yields with single asset deposits and no impermanent loss. Users can access leverage to margin trade, stake, farm, and more. To learn more about GEARBOX, go to gearbox.fi. Puffer Institutional delivers secure, high-yield Ethereum staking built for institutions. With battle-tested security, granular access controls, and the ability to boost APY by securing multiple AVSs, Puffer gives institutions full control and optimized returns. Puffer is also behind the Unify-based rollup, aiming to transform Ethereum's future in a world where all L2s are working together. To learn more, go to institutional.puffer.fi.
For those listening, we're getting near the end of this, but in talking about ACP, another sort of standard that I think a lot of people have been hearing about is X402. Maybe can you explain what that is, and how is that different from ACP? Maybe just break that down for us too, Vivaldi.
Yeah, definitely. So basically, one of the issues with, I'll give you guys a very simple example with one of the issues with the internet currently and how the internet's going to change with agents and just AI overall is that, let's say right now, you probably go onto like Netflix or something, and you might see like, to verify you're not a bot, like check mark thing, right? So if you're an AI, you actually just can't use these different systems. And almost every single website almost now has this like verify you're not a bot thing. And there's kind of ways to get around it, but overall, like agents just can't really work and communicate over the internet as effectively. So the issue with that is that, and over time as well, essentially, if you see this future where you kind of just talking to an LLM or talking to ChatGPT or something that's kind of just like buying you different groceries or making trades for you or doing all this different stuff, you almost have abstracted away all of these other companies and UIs completely, right? And that can kind of destroy lots of companies, but at the same time, AI is just kind of scraping all these different areas and just working for you, which is good for the consumer. But all these different businesses kind of just get destroyed. Or the AI just can't be that effective because these businesses don't let AI do systems on them. So basically, Explorer 2 allows a way for you to pay over the internet to different partners. So what that basically unlocks is that, let's say an AI wants to mine some data from the Netflix example earlier, right? It wants to view this, say, docu-series and give a response to the user who's asking about it. So basically, Netflix can be like, hey, you can view this, like, you know, Charlie Sheen documentary, and I would recommend you guys all watch it. It was pretty crazy. But you can watch this like documentary, just pay me like $1, right? So like the agent can pay over the internet this $1 and basically can read and like watch the entire show and give the answer back to the user. So in this case, now the agent has way more capabilities and can start using Netflix, for example, right? At the same time, the user gets way more value. And you can all pay the stuff just like autonomously across the internet. And you start thinking about what this unlocks for not just like, you know, obviously not just Netflix, but almost every type of platform where now the agent can go onto Symphony and be like, hey, I want to create a, you know, I'm going to buy you to, you know, some type of protocol or, you know, make a trade or something like that. You can essentially just do that over API or just over the internet instead of actually having to go create a whole API key, go onto, say, Composer, or do anything related to us. You can just do that autonomously, just talking through over the internet. So what our goal is basically to do is bring financial markets over to Explorer 2. So it's not just payments across agents for, you know, different things like Netflix or whatever it is. It's also now bringing like, hey, you can actually operate on financial markets now as an agent over Explorer 2 without creating any API or creating any API keys or anything like that, which, you know, agents can't even create API keys. That's a very manual human process. So I think it's going to be pretty big in the future. I think it's something which the internet's needed since the beginning. And yeah, I think it's going to be really exciting later on.
There's still one aspect to all of this that I've never fully understood, which is if we have all of these AI agents acting on our behalf, how do you know which ones are good at their job, which ones are not good at it? It feels like it would be silly for us to be doing tons of due diligence on these AI agents and, you know, basically shifting our focus from looking for the right yield to looking for the right agent. Do you have any thoughts on that? Like, what does the future look like if we're trying to discern which AI agents are better at earning us yield or doing whatever for us on chain?
Yeah, so something interesting, I'll give you like a live example right now. So you can actually go onto Virtuals' website and go to ACP, and people have started reviewing different agents inside their ecosystem there. And I started reviewing them at like, you know, up to 5 stars. Almost looks like Google reviews or something. So I feel like there's going to be a reputation-based system should kind of be coming out where there's some companies working on this as well, but you can see this live on Virtuals. But basically, you'll start doing, every agent will have a reputation score, and we'll basically have like almost a KYA, which is like know your agent instead of, you know, KYC or something like that. So they'll have this whole validation reputation layer. What some companies are working on, that's not like our focus, but I think that'll be like inevitable in the future.
RightSide, I feel like we've been plugging away here at Vivaldi with follow-up questions. Any other thoughts to add here on just where the future of AI and DeFi are headed?
Oh, it's all good. I'm actually enjoying the conversation a while ago. But yeah, AI and DeFi headed, I think it's what we're also looking forward with for all DeFi degens out there and like DeFi natives. It's really optimization on the opportunities, given there's a lot of opportunities for yield, farming, or like opportunities in airdrops and whatnot. Also looking forward to what Vivaldi has mentioned with account abstraction discussions with AI, making things very simple without users actually knowing that there's a wallet involved or a bridge involved, just enabling like the strategy that you want to have. And if you want to take a deep dive, then you just can go through the code. So maybe on Pendle and Symphony side of things, I've seen the posts about virtuals and Symphony. Maybe it could be like a good way to have degen ideas with AI. Maybe AI can help us make the YT moonsheet for upcoming yield-bearing stables based on valuation, so we can easily farm the YTs because I'm a big YT fan. Or maybe also AI enabling grid trading on the implied APY on Pendle so that you can create orders and get that opportunities on yield.
Well, guys, I think this is a great place for us to wrap up. So first, I want to remind our listeners they can learn more about Symphony by going to symphony.io. They can learn about Pendle by going to pendle.finance. Make sure you follow Vivaldi's account here on the space, or check the show notes if you're listening to the podcast version of this later. It's Vivaldi0x. RightSide, his handle is RightSide only. Guys, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate you sharing your expertise. Any final word here before we go?
Yeah, nothing much, but thanks for having me. Appreciate DeFi Nomadic for hosting this space. Learned a few things from Symphony as well. Looking forward to the collaboration.
Yeah, no, appreciate you guys having me as well. Great chatting at RightSide, and yeah, excited for the Pendle launch with Symphony coming up soon.
Thanks everyone for tuning in. To stay up to date with future episodes, plus get expert tips, strategies, and exclusive content, subscribe to our free newsletter at the-edge.xyz.